Hi everyone. Today we are going to learn about or discuss about the pile foundation. Myself, Dr. K. Yuvaraj, Department of Civil Engineering, K.S.Rangasamy College of Technology. It is a very important types of foundation in civil engineering. They are especially useful when the soil near the surface is not strong enough to support the structure. Okay. These are all the list of the content. We will discuss one by one. Introduction, need, and then classification of pile foundation, followed by load transfer mechanism of pile foundation. What are the materials used for making of pile foundation, and what are the techniques used for the pile driving, and then what are the criteria to be considered in the design of pile foundation, and then finally advantages and disadvantages of pile foundation. We will discuss one by one. First one is a introduction to pile foundation. A pile foundation is a deep foundation where long slender column called piles transfer the load to the deeper, stronger soil layer. This is required when the soil near the ground surface is too weak or compressible to carry the load. For example, in coastal cities like Mumbai or Chennai, most high-rise buildings are supported on pile foundation because the topsoil is soft and waterlogged. Right? Next one is a need for pile foundation. Here, pile foundation are necessary when shallow foundation are not possible due to weak or loose soil at the surface. They help resist not just vertical loads but also lateral loads and uplift forces, and also making them suitable for tall or slender structures. Okay. For example, offshore oil platform in the ozone stand firmly only because of pile driven deep into seabed. Right? The next thing is a classification of piles based on function. Here, end bearing piles transfer the load directly to the hard stratum, acting like a long column, and also friction piles on the other hand depend on skin friction between the pile surface and the soil to carry a load. A good example of friction piles in the metro project in sandy area like Chennai, while end bearing piles are common in bridge piers resting on the rock. Okay. And also the classification based on the materials and the installation. Here, timber pile are economical and easy to use but are suitable mostly for temporary works because of their limited durability. Concrete piles are stronger and more durable, making them ideal for permanent and heavy structures in marine or aggressive soils. And also steel piles, though costlier, can be driven in a long length and are widely used in offshore projects such as oil platform. Right? These are all the figures for your reference. Timber piles, concrete pile, and steel piles. Okay. But in these cases, compared to steel, concrete, timber pile is less durability. So it is very used for temporary structure only. Timber pile compared to concrete pile and steel pile. But in these cases, costly one is steel pile compared to timber pile and concrete pile. But life is high in the concrete pile. Next one is a load transfer mechanism. In end bearing action, the pile carries the load straight to the hard rock or stiff soil layer, just like a column standing on firm ground. But in the skin friction, the load is shared by friction between the pile surface and the surrounding soils, which is useful in the sandy area. In practice, many piles work on a combination of both mechanism, especially when soil layer vary with the depth, right? And also timber pile having a merits and a demerits. Merits of timber pile are cheaper, lightweight and easy to handle, which make them useful for short-term projects such as temporary river crossing, right? They also observe the impact of driving better than concrete piles and also reducing the risk of damage during the installation. But in the demerits, the limited length and load carrying capacity are occurred in the timber pile and also not durable in the long term project and also not suitable for very heavy loads and also maintenance required is very high. So it's a main drawback for using the timber pile in the construction project. So most of the engineer not recommended timber pile for the project. For temporary structure project it will be recommended, right? Next one is concrete pile. Here concrete pile are very strong in compression, we know that, and also strong in durable and resist to corrosion and making them suitable for aggressive environment like a marine foundation and also low maintenance once installed, we know that. But in the demerits, difficult to transport and handle is very high in the concrete pile, because precast concrete pile if are placed in the project one place to another, so difficult to transport is very heavy and also it required specialized equipment for driving and also time consuming during process for cast in situ is very high. Higher initial cost also involved compared to timber, right? And then steel pile is having a higher strength to size ratio, which allow them to penetrate hard soil and rock layer without difficulty. Okay, they are easy to cut, extend, splice and making them ideal for deep foundation require for long piles. Okay, however these are expensive if when is demerit occur. Okay, and then prone to corrosion in marine environment and their driving process create a noise and vibration problem near urban area. These are all the demerits while using the steel pile during the construction time. Then construction process of pile foundation began with a detailed soil investigation to determine the depth and types of piles needed. Once the method is chosen, piles are installed either by driving or boring or drilling, followed by concreting and reinforcement placement if required. Finally, all the piles are tied together with a pile cap, which distribute the load evenly from the structure to the pile. Okay, these are all the process of construction for making a pile foundation. Okay, after that pile driving method, here several way to install driven pile depending on the site and soil condition. Drop hammer and a diesel hammer are commonly used in urban construction, while vibratory hammer and hydraulic press in system are suitable for the sensitivity environment where vibration must be minimized. For example, a metro project inside cities pressing system are preferred to reduce the disturbance to nearby building. Okay, this is a figure for your reference. Here hammer, piles, template grain with the help of grain pile driving method will be done. Then design of pile foundation is a process start from calculating the total load from the structure followed by estimating the load carrying capacity of a single pile. The load total number of pile is then decided by the dividing the total load by the capacity along with the proper spacing and arrangement under the pile cap. Finally, settlement and safety check are done to ensure the long term stability of the foundation is a final step. Okay, and then overall the main merits of using the pile foundation can carry very heavy load even in soft or swampy soil where shallow foundation fail. They are also ability to resist the horizontal forces, making them suitable for bridges, towers and tall buildings. Moreover, they reduce the risk of uneven settlement, ensuring that the structure remains stable and serviceable over the time. Right? And finally, demerits while using the pile foundation are more expensive than shallow foundation due to the heavy equipment and specialized labor are required. The installation process is noisy and causes vibration which can distribute nearby residents or damage nearby weak structures. Okay. Finally, the conclusion of the foundation or pile foundation are widely used in high-rise building, bridge piers and marine structures such as dock, jetties. Okay. They are also necessary for industrial plants that houses heavy machinery where vibration and load needed to be carefully managed. And then a famous example in the Pantra Worli Sea Link in Mumbai, which stands firmly on pile foundation to withstand the force of wind, water and heavy traffic. Okay, and this conclude our discussion on pile foundation. We have seen why they are needed, their types, material, installation method and merit and demerit and application in the real life. By understanding this, you will now be able to connect the concept with practical example in bridges, buildings, marine structures you see around us. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you for watching.